Hello, sixth grade. I am so excited for our lesson today because November is National Career Development Month. And so that means over the next few weeks, I will be talking to you about different occupations and the types of skills that are involved and the education needed to get into those kinds of that type of work, and how you can already start thinking about how your strengths and the things that you're interested in can shape you, help lead you towards the career that you might want to have one day. It's never too early to think about this because the whole reason you're going to school now is so that you can keep building upon your knowledge, and after high school, you're going to have to make some big decisions. And really, that's like not really that far away. I know in a way it is, but it's still a few years. But um, the harder you work in high school could get you to college if you choose that you want to do something that requires you to go to college. So you're all capable of that. So let's get started. So again, we're celebrating Career Development Month. Let's talk a little bit about what makes a career different and why we want to kind of separate job versus career. So sometimes you might hear these words interchangeably, and that's okay. But for this purpose, right now, when I'm talking to you, I just want to clarify the difference between a job and a career. So a job, a lot of the time for somebody, can be something that maybe they're doing temporarily. It's not something that someone really focused on for a period of time to be able to get the training or the education that they needed to go into that job. They're just doing it more to make sure they can pay the bills and get by. They're not necessarily happy with what they're doing. So that's kind of how I'm separating job. A career is something that people really work towards because they know that it'll use their strengths, it'll use their skills, and it's something they want to do for a long time. People focus on what kind of career they want for a while because it doesn't really, you don't work when you don't get to just apply to any job you want if you don't have the right education to go into that type of work. So for example, myself as a school counselor, I had to finish my first college degree, and then I had to go back to college for another degree that is called a master's degree, and that was specific to school counseling. And I wouldn't be allowed to be a school counselor if I had not gone to school for that. So it's not just anybody that gets to apply to be a school counselor. And that's the case for many, many different types of work. The same for teachers, but many other occupations that we're going to talk about. And my work as a school counselor, I consider a career because it's something that I worked towards, I focused on, and it's something that I want to do for a long time. So another way we can think about this sometimes of why we want to try to focus on the type of career we want is because work is a huge part of our life. It takes up a lot of time, and we don't want to leave work angry every day. Otherwise, we'll live very angry lives because of how much we have to work. We want to leave work happy that we're able to do things that we enjoy and do work somewhere that we chose to work, and that all of our hard work with training and schooling, that it all paid off. So when we start learning about occupations, I'm going to talk to you in terms of planets. And I want you to, it's thinking like what planet you're from, because we're all different, right? We have different interests and different skills and different things that we bring to the table. And that's important to think about when you pursue a career. So I'm going to go through them more specifically, but just quickly, these are our different categories. And in a couple weeks, I'm going to have you take a survey, and you will be able to see which area you fall into based on several different questions that you answer. So we have realistic people, we have investigative, artistic, social, enterprising, and conventional. I'm going to talk to you more about today we're not going to get to all of them. But first, I'm going to talk to you about Planet R, which is the realistic planet. These are the doers, people that like to work with tools, objects, machines, or maybe animals. People that like to use their hands and with machinery, maybe like a lot more manual labor, maybe using electrical skills. They might work in occupations that involve building things or repairing things. And these are the kind of people that are really practical, and they get the most satisfaction from seeing a job completed. So starting something and at the end feeling like, okay, I'm done. That's why a lot of people that come from the realistic planet work in construction. So here's a few examples. Surveyors. You might not have heard of surveyors before, but you've probably seen them out on the street taking pictures. These people make exact measurements to determine property boundaries. They gather information about the Earth's surface for making maps, mining, evaluating the land, whether they could build on that land or not, what kinds of animals live there. They might prepare different sketches or reports from their surveys, and they look back at previous records too. So this requires at least a bachelor's degree. So a bachelor's degree is you finish high school and you go to a 4-year college. It takes about 4 years and you can get a bachelor's degree. So university like SDSU, UCSC, when you first go, that's when you can get a bachelor's degree. And our next example for Planet R are cabinet makers and also bench carpenters. So carpenters, people that construct objects like fixtures in stores, office equipment, cabinets, furniture. They produce and assemble different parts, set up and operate machines like power saws, molders, shapers. You can reinforce using nails and other fasteners. Even like finishing touches when they trim, they sand surfaces to prepare them for the final task of finishing. So usually a carpenter needs at least a high school diploma, and will maybe get additional training somewhere else after high school. Landscape gardeners. Again, this is a very hands-on job. These are people that might put together all the landscaping, the yard around houses or buildings, and they maintain the grounds so that it looks nice and inviting, keeping the grass mowed, planting, trimming plants and trees, even setting up sprinklers and other other things like that that are needed within landscaping. Usually this doesn't require a college degree, except if you want to go into the more design part of things, more of like a landscape architect, then that would require a college degree if you want to actually do the designing part rather than the hands-on part of putting the landscaping together and maintaining it. So Planet I, investigative planet. So these are the thinkers. These are people that like certain activities that involve biology or other physical sciences, really into math and science, and a lot of these occupations are like scientific or medical fields. These kinds of people tend to be really curious and really studious. And they like to develop new ways of doing things. So that's kind of, a lot of the time, that's the science aspect. So an example of an occupation for Planet I investigative would be a dentist. They diagnose and treat diseases, injuries that can happen to your teeth and your gums. They might administer anesthesia so that it's not as painful when you go to the dentist. And they create a plan so that patients' dental problems can be solved. They teach patients how to properly take care of their teeth, and they examine your teeth and your gums with x-rays and other instruments, and they can even write prescriptions if it's related to dental problems. If you want to be a dentist, you, after high school, you would need to get your first degree, which we talked about already, a bachelor's degree. Usually takes at least 4 years. And then you have to go to dental school, and that's another few years. So you'd have to apply and go to school specifically to learn how to become a dentist. All right, optometrists. Optometrists diagnose and treat conditions that happen to our eyes. These are people, if any of you wear glasses, that you have to see fairly often for them to prescribe the right strength for your contacts or your glasses. But they can also prescribe drugs in case you have any diseases in your eyes or other types of problems that can happen to your eyes. They could even remove foreign bodies from your eyes if something gets in your eye. That sounds horrible. And just educate people about their eyes. This also requires, after you get your bachelor's degree, to go to optometry school. And then they get a doctorate degree in optometry. Also, medical doctors. They can prescribe, treat, they can order and interpret different tests. They diagnose different conditions and monitor patients' progress after they set up a treatment plan. There's lots of different types of doctors. So usually when you go, you probably see like a primary care doctor or what's called a pediatrician who focuses on kids, anyone that's under 18. But there are doctors that specialize in so many different areas. And that just the amount of schooling or time it takes for them to complete all the education they need, it just depends on which specialty they decide to go into. So there's doctors specifically that deliver babies, doctors that, a different type of eye doctor called an ophthalmologist. There's anesthesiologists, where are the people that first put people under if they have to go into surgery. I could go on and on. Doctors have to go to medical school. So first, it's your first degree at college, which is a bachelor's degree. Again, that takes about 4 years. And then another 4 years of medical school. And then again, depending on what specialty they want to go into, it can take between 3 and 8 years for them to get the extra training that they need to become specialized in that area. So it's a lot of school to become a doctor, huh? But this is a profession or a type of work that a lot of people strive to go into, and they work really hard to get there. Surgeons. So this would be one of those specialty areas that I talked about. Lots involved. So usually surgeons get paid more money, but they do have to do a lot of extra training, and that's after their first college degree, after medical school, and then they have several years of training. And finally, veterinarians. So veterinarians treat animals for different illnesses or injuries, examine animals to see what might be wrong, teach animal owners how to care for their animals. And some veterinarians, this might even be more of their focus, might study dead animals to determine why they died. So they might even work more in research. This requires finishing college, your first degree, a bachelor's degree, about 4 years. And then you go to veterinary school, that's another 4 years. So just to get the first, like all the education and the training after high school, that's an additional 8 years. So a lot of school, but a really cool job to go into, right? And that's definitely an example of a career. So that's where we're going to stop today. I just wanted to go over a few different occupations as a start and get you thinking about it. We'll go over some more next time. But I kind of wanted to leave you with this and ask, what's a job that you might want that we learned about today? So which one of those jobs sounds kind of interesting to you? It might be something that you would be interested in pursuing. And what makes that job so interesting? All right, that's where we're going to end today. Thank you so much for joining me, and I will see you next time. Bye.